I am in my brand new studio and it's not quite complete yet, but I thought I would go ahead and do the intro for my next build on my channel. Welcome to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review Studio. I am back with a brand new build for you from Agora Models, and that would be the British SAS Jeep, and that is the Special Air Service Jeep from World War II. They were the elite fighting forces of the African campaign, and I'm really looking forward to building this Jeep because there's so much you can do with it. There's so much details that will go into it. If you think you'd like to get this for yourself, head over to Agora Models. I put a link in the description below as well as above. Click on that and get started today. They've also have available the Mercedes Gullwing car available there too, and you can purchase it outright, the whole kit, if you'd like. Also on my channel, you'll notice I've been building the LaFerrari, and that's fantastic too. You can also purchase that as the entire kit if you want. But for now, for our Jeep, we're going to be receiving monthly installments on this, and it should be exciting. I'm looking forward to building this. Now, I do hope my videos help you out. I get a lot of comments on my channel that my videos do help you out. I try to point out certain aspects about the build. If you've never built one of these cars before, there's a little bit of a learning curve that goes in to this, the proper tools to use, the proper equipment, and so forth. So I do hope that they help you out. Please comment down below. I do read every one of those comments. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to a brand new build on my channel, and that would be the Agora Models SAS Willy's Jeep. This was a brainchild of Blair Paddy Mayne in July of 1942. The SAS, the Special Air Service, procured a consignment of Willys Jeeps, transforming them into formidable vehicles that were unconventional, specialized missions in North Africa. These Jeeps were used in World War II for long-distance reconnaissance and raiding behind German lines. They had to carry enough fuel, food, and water, and of course weapons for these missions, so every available surface was used for storage, which makes a great subject for this build because this Jeep is packed full of accessories and details as highlighted from the Agora Models website. This kit will give you functioning headlights and sound, pre-painted parts in British standard colors, number 61 light stone desert yellow, replica single and twin mounted Vickers machine guns, replica Browning machine gun, accessories including hats and bags, upholstered seats, metal wheel channels, canvas covers, and jerry cans, and a Bagnall sun compass. For the first pack, we do receive a nice fold-out poster, and inside the fold-out poster gives us some details about this build and this kit. And like I said, all the details you can find about this can be found on the Agora Models website. The instructions themselves can also be found on the Agora Models website. They give you an online detailed instruction along with an optional video to watch to help you build your model. 5 stages came in pack 1, and for stage 1 we received the front grille and headlights. Stage 2 we received the hood, very nice there. Stage 3 received one of the wheels and tires. And stage 4, we start on that famous engine that the Willys Jeep had. And lastly, more parts for the engine in stage 5. Let's go ahead and get started on stage 1. For this build, even though Agora Models supplies you with the necessary screwdrivers and tweezers, you're going to want to go ahead and get yourself some really good screwdrivers to take you along for the entirety of this build. And you're going to want to have good high quality ones. I would recommend the WWII screwdrivers. I have 3 of them here. The PH00, which is the smallest, the PH0, which is the one I use a lot, and then the PH1, which is the larger screwdriver for the larger screws. You're going to want to have an X-Acto blade maybe to clean off some of the parts, and of course some really good high quality tweezers. You may want to use some super glue for some of your parts also. You definitely want to use some 3-in-1 oil to help drive those screws into metal parts. Explain the screws here for a minute. With Pack 1, we received DM screws and AP screws. The key here is AP, P meaning plastic. So these screws are designed to screw into plastic. They have larger threads on them. The DM screws are made from metal, so that these are designed to go into metal parts, and the threads are a lot tighter and a lot smaller. You may want to use some good ABS glue for the plastic parts. That's always helpful. Welcome back. Here's stage 1 parts. This is the radiator and grille. AP and DM screws. Here's all the parts. The grille itself is made of metal. Very nice there. The distinctive grille for the SAS Jeeps. And of course all the headlights, lenses, turn signals, the night covers, and bracketry for the grille. And they did give us a small screwdriver. First thing, we'll work on the headlights here first, and these are the headlight bezels, as you can see here. Now pay attention, because the lenses themselves only go in one way. They're going to slide into this notch here on the upper edge where it mounts, and you can see these are also designed for LED lights, so you're going to have lighted headlights. Taking the lens itself, and we can see where that tab lines up to that notch I was talking about. And this is just going to be a press fit. And you can see how that goes. You can actually see the lines on the headlight. Very detailed, very nice. Next we have these mounting brackets for the headlights, and they are marked with a left and a right. You can see the L right there, and the R right there. Now in mounting these, you can see there is a flat, so they only go in one way. You want to line up the flats together, and then you can go ahead and throw in your AP screw into that. And there you go. That's how that should look. Be careful when you put the screw in, you don't over tighten it, because remember, you're going into plastic here. And that's how that looks. And both headlights are complete. Oops. Alright, both headlights are complete here. Both headlights are installed on the brackets. We'll go ahead and install these brackets on the grille. Bring the left bracket over, and that's going to mount right there on that. And we're going to go ahead and put our DM screw into that. Screws installed. That's what it looks like on the left side, and that's what it looks like on the right side. Flip it around. Here's your headlight there for the right side, and the headlight on the left. Now let's go ahead and work on these lights here. Now we'll go ahead and assemble these parking lights. Now the parking light, you'll see that the cover has a tab that sticks out. That corresponds with the hole that's on the clear lens. And you can see that there. So we'll go ahead and line that up. And that's how that should look there. You'll note that the light cover has two alignment areas, and we'll line up the large pin on that and press fit everything together. And that's how that looks there. Next we'll go ahead and install those lights onto the bracket here for the grille. And note that there is a flat edge, just as before, and we'll line up the flat edge of the light. I found it easy just to do everything here on the bench and line up everything, and we'll lay it down how it's going to mount to the grille, just like that. And we'll put our AP screw into that. And that's how that looks. And that will mount right up to the grille. Alright, we'll line up those lights onto the grille. Note that the grille kind of curves outward, and you want to have the same thing with the bracket where it's curving outward. You can see that, and that will go right there. And our DM screw will go into that. And both our screws are in for those lights. And that's what our grille looks like so far. The last thing we're going to do in this stage is install this little mount bracket on the bottom here. And there you go. There's the mount bracket installed. You can see you want to have the flat area on the bottom. And that completes stage 1. Let's head over and get started on stage 2. Stage 2, we're going to build the bonnet or the hood. Alright, here's the parts. Here's our hood. Very nice there. The sand yellow, RAL 1002, and of course the olive drab underneath. Very cool there. Here's the screws, which I already painted the sand yellow. And you can use that color, the RAL 1002, for touch-up. And then all the bracketry to hold the hood down. Alright, to begin with these brackets here, we're going to insert this pin through. And that's simply going to line up on the other side here. I already did this side right here. And we use those small ADM screws. A little bit of oil to help it along, but that's what it looks like and where it goes. The next bracket got installed on both sides, and that's this bracket right here with the same screws. Be careful you don't over tighten those screws, but you definitely want to have the opening towards the back end. When we're going to put our bracket onto that, our bracket is going to slide onto that rod, and it's going to hook onto that bracket. And that completes stage 2. Let's head over and get started on stage 3. For stage 3, we're going to assemble the wheel and tire, and this is the first of 5, I believe, because there's a spare. BM and CM screws. We have our tire here. The infamous Jeep tire. Very nice. Made of rubber. It's not very pliable. It's very hard. The The wheel itself, both halves are made of metal. We have the drum cover for the brakes, the hub cap, and a shim or a washer. Now, what they want us to do is heat up the tire to install the rim. And yes, you definitely want to do that because you actually have to squeeze this together to get your rim to go together to get your screws in. So I would recommend take the tire and boil up some water on a stove, have the water boiling, put the rim in there for 2 to 3 minutes, take it out, and then while the tire's still hot, put your rim together. It's just going to make it so much easier. You want everything to line up like that, where you can get your 4 screws to go in here. If you don't do that, you're going to have a hard time with it, getting everything to line up and getting all your screws to go in like they should. The big part is getting the holes to line up because you really can't see it that well. Okay, we are set, and we'll take and line this up like it should be. Perfect. And there we go, all 4 BM screws are in and tight. Very easy to do. The tire is still very pliable, makes it easier to get the wheel halves together and get the screws in. Perfect. Next I put on the brake drum right there and install the 2 CM screws right there to hold it down. I used a little bit of 3-in-1 oil. And we'll go ahead and take our spacer next here. I'm going to go ahead and insert that inside there for now, just temporarily, and we'll put our cap on, our hub cover or cap, and hold that in place for now. So that completes stage 3. Let's head over and get started on stage 4. Stage 4, we're going to go ahead and get started on the engine. So this is part 1 of the engine build. CP, DM, and FM screws. The 2 engine halves here, made of metal, very nice, olive drab color there. And we have the exhaust parts here, and the oil pan. We also received the distributor base, that's what that is, and a larger screwdriver. Alright, the distributor base was installed on this side of the engine block, and you can see that with 2 CM screws. Remember, they're going into plastic, so don't over tighten them, just till it's snug, but that's what that looks like. Next I installed the exhaust manifold on the other half of the engine block here. It is made of plastic, so be very careful with that. 3 DM screws were used for that. I used 3-in-1 oil again. Be careful you don't over tighten those, so you don't want to split the plastic. Okay, so just get it to where they're snug, and that's how that looks. Next I'll mount the intake manifold on top of the exhaust manifold, and you can see how that looks there. We want to have this side facing up, inserted into those holes there. And we'll be putting 2 more CP screws on the back side here. And there it is mounted. Looks good. Now I can go ahead and put the 2 engine halves together and simply just going to go together like that. And we're going to take 2 FM screws and install them right there. Alright, the 2 engine halves are screwed together with the FM screws. I did use a little bit of 3-in-1 oil to help that along. That looks very good. Next I'll go ahead and install the oil pan next. Now the oil pan should only go on one way, and you can see here how the holes line up. We want to have it to go on just like that. And we're going to access the top of the engine with 2 FM screws to hold that down. And the oil pan is screwed down. Looks good. That completes stage 4. Let's head over and get started on the final stage of this video, stage 5. Here's the parts for stage 5. More parts for the engine. We also received some tweezers there. Here's the cylinder head. It is made of metal. We do have our spark plug boots, top and bottom, the coil and the top of the distributor, and the spark plug wires along with tweezers. Alright, so we're going to put the spark plug boot on the coil. And just a press fit in place here. Alright, I installed the spark plug boots on top of the distributor cap. I installed the cap onto the bottom of the distributor bottom there, and I put in the coil here with 2 DM screws. Be careful with those screws. You don't over tighten those because it is plastic. You don't want to split the plastic on those parts, so just be very careful with that. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and install the spark plugs, and you want them kind of to angle towards this area right here because they're going to go through a bracket in this area here. So what I've done to make the spark plugs easier to go in, I take an X-Acto blade and I've made the holes a little larger, okay, because you can always super glue those in place. Alright, next I installed the spark plug wire support with 2 EM screws. And then I installed the head on top of the block. I took a little coaxing. I had to use a little bit of oil on those points, so 4 points that it mounts down to help it go down. And then the CM screw was put in right there to hold that all down in place. I'm holding off on the spark plug wires themselves until I get everything lined up, and then I'll insert them where I want them. Alright, the distributor I cut at 43 millimeter. And the coil wire is installed on the distributor on the center. Number 1 spark plug wire, 46.4 millimeter. And the number 1 wire is installed through the wire support to the top here portion of the distributor. And 46.1 for number 2. And number 2 is installed right there. Running over to this side of the distributor. .48 for number 3. And number 3 installed right there. Running over to this side of the distributor. Number 4, 67.7. And the last wire, number 4, went right there through the support and on the bottom of the distributor right there. And there you go, the spark plugs are complete. It really made a difference to make the holes a little bit larger for these wires so you could adjust them. If you made them too hard, you can just super glue the spark plugs in place, but that's what that looks like. They all route through this wire support and run down to the distributor. The recommended sizes, I really didn't pay attention to that. I went ahead and cut them to length after carefully measuring where the spark plug goes to the distributor and following the firing order in the instructions. There's a good picture showing the firing order. I'll put that up to show you that. But you can see everything is in place. If you wanted, you could super glue the wires in place if they come off a little bit later, but they seem to be holding up pretty good for now. And that completes stage 5. Looks great. I'll be right back. And there you go. That completes pack 1 for the SAS Willy's Jeep by Agora Models. We did 5 stages here. Everything looks great so far. I'm really enjoying this build so far. If you think you'd like to get this for yourself, head over to Agora Models. I put a link in the description below. Subscribe to it today. It is brand new release from Agora, and I think you won't be disappointed with this one. I hope you enjoyed my video and I was able to show you a few things with this, and it's for your benefit. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.